Right, here I am today in Brodick. I'll show you where I am in a second. I'm just going to show you what Sally can do. The only thing that she will put her paw up in the air like that just to get a treat. And I didn't teach her that. Okay. She's learned that from somebody else before when they had her. I didn't, or we didn't. So that's something, a blast from her past. She's very good at that. Just did it one day. It's quite cute when she does it. Anyway, this is where I am today. In the wee wood above the Douglas Hotel at what I call the Secret Waterfall. And the Secret Waterfall is more of just a secret rather than a secret waterfall today, because there's not that much water in it. Although it is raining a little bit, it does rain. There's not been much rain lately, so we'll just call it the secret rather than the secret waterfall today. Anyway, I just thought I'd come up here and just sound off about anything that's in my mind, really, basically. So what I'm going to do, Sally doesn't come very close to the waterfall because she doesn't like it. I'm going to just go over to where I can see the waterfall. There we go. And point it at said waterfall. Yeah, I think. Okay. There we go. Not a bad view of it. And I'll tell you what's on my mind today. On the way here, we went along Brodick's front, and there were two things that struck me when we were walking along. I ask questions, quite a lot. I annoy people sometimes because they don't have the answers. I go, why is that? Why is this? Just like a wee kid, And a couple of questions that I've got from just walking along Brodick's front for 5 minutes with Sally before we come up here is, first of all, I came across a wee water thing, Scottish water dispenser, which was really neat, and it had a wee stream of water for anybody to drink. I thought that's very handy, even use that for Sally, could give her some water. But it said on it, your water, okay, fair enough, your life. I was thinking, okay, but I kind of assumed that it was already my life before they told me that. In fact, if I'm honest about it, it never occurred to me at any point in my life that it wasn't my life. So how come Scottish water needs to tell me it's my life? Unless there is some doubt about it. Or am I going to cark it sometime soon? Is the water going to kill me? Is that what it is? Is that like a reassurance that in case the water is poisonous or something, but I'm still going to live? So it's not your water, your death in that case, because it's about to you're about to keel over once you've drunk it. That's the only reason I can think of your water, your life, in case it was deadly water, and it's your death. But anyway, that's the first thing. I don't really get that. And already I pay for the water with the rates anyway, so in honesty the other part of it I'd assumed it was already mine as well, which was the water bit. I've got plenty of water. And I pay for it as well. So that was a bit of a surprise. But anyway, I can't disagree with them on that. It is my water and my life. And the other thing was, I saw a van and then a motorhome, and they're both quite high. And they've got wee lights in the top, on the roof, I can't remember what kind of lights they call them, but they've got a name for them. And but you've got lights at the bottom as well, like cars. I'm thinking, why have you got lights at the top? Is that because of low-flying aircraft in case they're going to clip it, or a helicopter wanting to land, Is that in case I suddenly take a fancy to try to leap over it, but think it's a lot lower than it is, and those lights are to ward me off, in case I just smash into the side of it, trying to clear the roof? What's the lights at the top for? I just can't imagine. The driver can't see those lights when he's driving, so it's not helpful to him. It must be for us. I don't get it. So both those things, at the risk of showing my ignorance and my stupidity, exposing my stupidity, I'm going to ask those two questions. Why is it my water my life? And why are the lights on high vehicles? I don't know the answer to those two things. Hopefully I'm not exposing my stupidity on them, but that's what I was wondering until along Brodick front. I'll just zoom back to Sally and show what she's doing. So she's staying over there because it's nice and safe. So what I'll do, since she's waiting for me, I'll just go back into the clear in a wee bit. We'll go back a little bit, and she likes that, so let's go back. It's a bit safer here. And I'll just maybe talk about what I was thinking about coming up here. So when I was young, like most people, a lot of people, I was a bit of an idiot, you know. I was immature and I would make a lot of mistakes. I made more mistakes than most people. And you grow up and you learn, and you learn of ways to avoid making those mistakes again. That's the main thing. You can make the mistakes, but don't keep making them, or else you're just stupid, you know. And so what I did as I grew up, and I even started this at school, I made little rules for myself, and I wouldn't break the rules. And it makes me quite unique in a way, because I'm somebody who's all my life set little rules, just a few of them, but I don't veer away from them at all, ever, you know. And I'll give you an example. Every single day, I believe I should have 30 minutes in my day to exercise, you know, or for myself, even if it's not for exercise, just my time. So nothing needs that time. Nobody, nothing, job, dog, anything. And although I enjoy walking the dog, I mean just me. So I could paint, sing, anything, just go for a run. And I feel that if at any point you can't find 30 minutes in your life, in my case I go for a run at work every single day. I go exercise, and that's the discipline I'm talking about. There's not a single day at work where I don't exercise or go for a run for 30 minutes. I get an hour break. And most people won't do that. They might do it occasionally. I do it every single day, every single time. It's my rule, right? Sally's wanting to go. Well, we'll go up this path a wee bit. Put that bag on. I'll put the camera down for a second. Get my bag on here. There's Sally. Well, you can sniff the camera, Sally. I'll put my bag on. Right, okay. Thanks for looking after the camera, Sally. Right, we'll go up the way a wee bit, I think, okay? You want to go up this way? Okay. So that's one of my little rules. And other rules I can think of, even at school I decided after having told a lot of lies, I wasn't going to tell any lies, and I've stuck to that. You know, I just don't tell lies. It gets me in a lot of trouble telling the truth, but I don't tell any lies. So, you know, don't ask me if you want to know, you know, the answer to something, but you don't want a straight answer, because I'll give you a straight answer whether you like it or not. That's what I do. So, for better or worse, I don't tell lies. And I made that decision when I was at school, and I've stuck to it for the last more than 40 years. The other thing I can think of, every single day I go to work, I've got a box of sandwiches, and I have them, and I make them up before I go to work, and I never ever don't have sandwiches, ever. So every day I do exercise, every day I've got a box of sandwiches. I'm the only person that knows, that I know, that does either of those things, and I do them both. Every single day, always, right? So I've always got plenty of food, and I know I'm always going to do a bit of exercise that day, at least half an hour. Right, but that's those two bases covered. Oh, Sally. Hey Sally, you wanted to leave the waterfall, but then you're falling behind there. So that's me. And some people have said, well Dave, you're disciplined because you do these things, you never fail. It doesn't matter what disasters befall you. It doesn't matter. The worst thing you can think of, those two things will still happen. And they always do. You know, or three things that I've said. And plus I ran around the island, you know, and I didn't stop. I had discipline to do the training. So you think, well, okay, Dave's disciplined. But on the other hand, the way of looking at it, which might be equally or more true, I lack discipline because I need these rules to not be the bloody idiot that I was when I was young, right? So other people can negotiate through life without these rules that I've set myself, whereas I need them, okay? So who's the most disciplined there? And I actually don't know the answer for that, right? There's that waterfall down there. Just looking down on it. I don't know who's the most disciplined there, but I know I need them. Keeps me right. So that's how I've managed to get to stay away from, for example, getting drunk, right? So there's my thing. I just don't get drunk, right? I don't drink. I used to smoke and drink and all these. I drink terrible amounts for a while, and I don't now. And that keeps me right. So you might say it makes it a boring life, but it stops me getting in trouble. One of the rules I had when I was young as well, I would never take a job as a barman, never, because I knew that barmen quite often got addicted to alcohol and didn't live very long. In fact, I remember getting told as a kid that barmen died the youngest of all the ordinary jobs, and the only people that were straight after them were surgeons. They were second youngest. And barmen drunk themselves to death, and surgeons died of stress. That's what it was. So my dad was a surgeon, so this is how I was hearing this. And I can't back it up with any facts. I just remember getting told that, and I've remembered it all my life. But certainly the drink thing, very bad for you. So I don't do it, right? That's how I keep myself away from it. That's how. Oh, Sally's running about. Come on in. You want to? Yeah. No long grass. You're on the path and I'm not. Oh, that's better. Aye, we're in the field just above the Secret now. That's where we were. And there's the new housing estate over there, coming up towards the council estate. So I'm just walking over this field. So yeah, I don't drink. I wouldn't take a job as a barman for that reason. And it keeps me healthy, and these rules keep me right. My mum, she's been gone 30 years now, actually exactly 30 years now. She was allergic to alcohol. She couldn't even take a teaspoon of alcohol or she'd be sick. So she never was drunk or had a hangover or anything like that. She was entirely allergic to it. So in a way that was a blessing for her because although she had an illness that she died quite young from, it wasn't the drink. She didn't have a problem with the drink, and that's the point. So she didn't have that. She didn't need to be disciplined about the drink. So that's the thing. And so we all know that drink's bad for us. And over the years, the government's to some extent protected us from it, at least to some extent, recognised it, warned people of the dangers of it. It's been public knowledge that alcohol can be very bad for you. And in fact, taking it further than that, I have read evidence that says that in fact every single drink is bad for you. It's just a poison, and even in a small amount of poison is bad for you in a small way. What I read specifically was that alcohol is cancer creating in the body. That's what I read. So I'm not trying to talk anybody else out of drinking, but that kind of makes sense to me, because everything else that's a poison does damage to you, and there's the damage there. So like drugs, cigarettes, anything else, it's addictive and it's poisonous. And so the government taxes it, and protects us from drinking too much in that respect, because it becomes very expensive. Same as cigarettes. What is it? £12 a packet, £11 a packet for cigarettes now. And I know I've drunk a lot in my life when I was young, and I smoked a lot of cigarettes. 160,000 altogether, worked it out. You're left with the thought, how could I afford to smoke? Of course, you have to afford to smoke if you smoke, because I did, because I was hopelessly addicted. And before I ran around Ireland, the hardest thing I ever did was stopping smoking, which I'd had many attempts before I managed, after I hypnotised myself. And so that was a packet a day, so that would be let's say £11 a pack, I'm not quite sure what it is. What's that, 80 quid a week for cigarettes? You know, that's a substantial amount of money. How much do I spend on shopping? Is it maybe half of that or something, just for my shopping? I don't know, it's not 80. So I can feed myself maybe for 2 weeks on 1 week cigarettes. And see, anyway, so there's part of it. So you think, well, they're taxing it, that's good, you know, people aren't going to be so inclined to do it. And the same with alcohol. You know, most of alcohol and also petrol and diesel and things like that is taxed. And that dissuades you to some extent from having too much of it, at least the financial impact might, unless you're rich. Yeah, we rely on the government to tell us what's bad for us and protects us from it to some extent without taking away our freedoms to choose altogether. And that leads me to my story for today, really, or the end of my story, which is, I read it when I was on, that's what I read, when I was on the way to work the other day. I put the radio on, which I've not done for a long time because I just don't want to hear the news really. Brexit, COVID, and then Russia and all these things, all bad. So, but I did put it on. It was exactly 7 in the morning. I thought, okay, I'll get the first headline, and if it's not disastrous, I'll wait. And then if I hear a disastrous headline, I'll turn it off. Right. So that's actually what I thought. So I turned it on. Radio 4. Here's the headlines. In Japan, no mention of the war. So I'm assuming that's not going so disastrously, or that would have been the first headline. In Japan, the government is looking for ideas and has started a campaign to find out who can help them with a promotion for alcohol, alcohol promotion. And the purpose of this is because, as you know, Japanese people are healthy. You know, they do exercise at work and things like that, and they've got a very kind of disciplined lifestyle. Most of them, they're a really disciplined nation, and they really are. Turns out they don't drink very much alcohol at all. And just like the British youngsters, they're doing this right. The British youngsters are drinking a lot less alcohol than their predecessors, the ones of my generation. And I imagine because they've got other things to distract them on the internet and things, and games and electronic devices and all the rest of it. But whereas maybe we didn't have as much. We had 3 channels on the telly. They've got 1,000, for example. But British youngsters do drink a lot less than British youngsters did when I was a youngster. And Japanese youngsters are the same. And the purpose of this campaign by the Japanese government was to get people to help them make young people drink more alcohol. Can you believe that? So here we are, 2022. We've known that alcohol is bad for us for, what, 100 years? I mean, right, all the way through all of the history of everything, all my life in Britain, I've been told alcohol is bad for you and we have to clamp down. People of Britain drink too much. People of Glasgow, which is where I was brought up, and that's the sick man of Europe, or the drunk man of Europe in this case, because we were well known for being drunk the whole time. That's the Glaswegian image, isn't it? You know, the drunk thug. And the Japanese government is trying to get youngsters to up their intake of alcohol. Why? Why would you do that, right? Obviously it's very bad for you. And the government, which I've just said are meant to be looking after us, to make sure that we don't do anything stupid. It turns out the only reason is because they want a bigger tax revenue, and they're quite open about that. The youngsters are drinking hardly any alcohol, and therefore the Japanese government doesn't get enough tax from alcohol. So, don't know which way we're going to go now. Well, it looks like we're going this way. It's the way Sally's going. So, put the camera up this way as well, might as well. We'll go see what's up that way since you're here. So that's the purpose of the campaign, to get the Japanese youngsters drunk, or at least less healthy than they are. I just couldn't believe it. The only other story I can think of like that in modern times was Volkswagen, and they're, I think it was the biggest car manufacturer in the world. Anyway, I think that's right. Certainly one of the biggest, if I was wrong about that, but I think they said that they sold more than anybody else. And the Volkswagen manufacturers put a device in their cars, and it got caught out a few years ago. They've been selling cars for years with a device in them that turned down the fuel consumption whenever anybody was testing the car. So if somebody's testing the car recognises that, and then adjusts the burn of the engine so that it flies through the emissions tests and everybody's happy. And so it's a cheat. And they were doing this for years and selling cars with amazing emissions results, only because they were cheating in the tests. And you can't quite believe that, you know. This day and age, like, what on earth are they doing? They're obviously going to get caught out. They got away with it for years. But they did do that, and then when they did get caught out, they've been fined, you know, billions, I think it was. I can't remember exactly what the fine was, but it was just quite astonishing that they'd even try, you know, apart from the moral side of it. I mean, I would never do anything like that, I just wouldn't. But for a whole company to decide to do that and throw the moral argument out the window, but also the legal one, you know, just disregard the consequences. And maybe they did benefit from that. Maybe the fine wasn't as substantial as the extra car sales. I don't know. But that was astonishing to me. I actually just couldn't quite believe it when I heard it. And it's the same with this. You know, I eat some junk. I wish I was encouraged, you know, by the government or by shops to eat more healthily. I think there should be more control with food. I think Britain needs it, you know, obviously with the spiralling, you know, average weight of a British person and the decreasing life expectancy now, the first time in history ever, British people are living less long than their kids, ever, in recorded history, because we eat the wrong stuff. And that's with us being healthy, you know, doing things like going to the gym, things that our grandparents didn't do, and having a better availability of food, and drinking less alcohol, and smoking far less. You know, last time I heard it was only 18% of people that even smoked, whereas when I was a kid, it was everybody. Come into a lounge, especially when you had visitors, you know, I just remember you couldn't see the other end of the room. It would just be so full of smoke. And all the gloss, you know, would need to be done every year. Every 2 years it would go dark brown, and but that was natural. Everybody smoked, and they don't now. Hardly anybody does. It's a very antisocial habit, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody saying that, but that's the way I believe it's seen. You know, it's a minority that smoke now, and there aren't many places you can do it. You know, you've got to go out of a pub to do it, or you know, leave a building, sometimes even outside. I've seen a play park in Waiting Bay, and it says thank you for not smoking in this area, you know, outside. So there are outside places you can't smoke as well. And I'm not even disagreeing with any of that, but it is becoming more antisocial. So these youngsters in Britain are doing everything right, but they're not living as long. And I think it's the food, you know, they need more guidance, more help, you know, more healthy stuff, tax, fatty food, yeah, fine. But most importantly, what they don't need anywhere is for the government to run a campaign to get them all drunk. I just can't believe it. So that's the subject of my thoughts today. The Japanese responsible government, so keen to get more revenue that they'll damage the health of their population. And maybe that's the point I'm making, because not just in Japan, because obviously if the Japanese government will do that, maybe any of them will. You know, I've been a believer all my life in personal responsibility. You know, I believe that all my choices are my own. I'm an adult. I've chosen everything I do as an adult, where I live, what I do, who I'm with, my state of health, everything, because all my choices, my food intake, my exercise, being an Arran, having a dog, you name it, I've chosen all of that for the last 40 years in my case, since I left home. So really, I could be doing anything I like, and I've got the capacity to do anything I like, so it's my choice. It is my choice. I don't blame anybody for anything. I take all the credit and all the blame for everything in my life, because I've chosen it. And you know, like the song My Way, you know, what's it? Let's get Sally across the road here. Hi. Right, she comes. There's a car coming, so I'll just hold you there, Sally. We'll just hold on for a wee second. There we go. Okay, that's it. There we go, Sal. Yeah, I even think you make your own luck, you know. So, Liam, alright, mate? So yeah. Okay, it's getting a bit busy here. I'll maybe just stop filming because I'm concentrating a wee bit on cars and things. But anyway, that's what I wanted to say. So I think if ever there's an argument for being responsible for yourself, here it is, because the government in Japan certainly will positively try to wreck your health. So who's to say that the British government isn't going to do the same, or Scottish government? And so that's, I suppose, the message at the end of it. I'm trying to say that really backs up what I've always thought. My life, my responsibility. Maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe that's what Scottish Water was trying to say on their thing. Instead of my water, my life. My life, my responsibility would have been a better way to put it, because at least you can question that, or it might be a timely reminder that that's actually the case, because no one else in the end is going to be responsible for you apart from yourself. That's my message for today. There we go. Another car. Right, we'll just get to this road end, I think, and that'll do us. Hillview. And be Sal. And Sal's had a bath, but you wouldn't know that because she's soaking wet anyway. But then that's what I figured. Give her a bath, and then even if she is soaking wet, it won't matter because she's already soaking wet. Right, that'll do. See you next time. Cheers.